But I suppose if you have played the game before, it should be very interesting to hear people talk about these things. Because it's always interesting to see how another person sees something that you like. It's like one of the reasons why I enjoyed playing Xenogears with so many people over and over again, because everybody had a different look at it and would notice new things I hadn't even noticed, or have new thoughts to certain things. Alright. Yasu, what do you do with the small broom? Didn't you use it to clean the window frames? The small broom is a thin broom that looks like a large paintbrush. We use it to clear out the dust in small corners, like window frames. It's one of the cleaning tools I was put in charge of. Come on, that's your responsibility. What have you been doing, idiot? Quickly go and find it. You have to do it before Madam finds out. What's up? Yasu lost the small broom again. The kid must be some sort of genius at losing things. That's why I'm always telling you never give things to Yasu. Yasu's always careless in losing things. Don't say that. Can't you see that this kid's working hard? Go on, hurry and find it. I'll wait for you. Okay. Not wanting to hear my fellow servers complain even more, I spun around and headed off. If you lose a tool, you get in trouble. If no one knows who did it, we all get yelled at, so one of them will probably tell Madam that it was my fault. Still, it really is my fault that I lost it in the first place, so they're not wrong. I wonder when I lost it. When? We cleaned out the entire chapel today. The chapel is a large building behind the mansion, however, no one ever goes near it normally. Even so, we are ordered to clean it a few times each year. Kenzo calls it a sacred building, so Natsuhi is very strict about it. We'd cleaned every little nook and cranny from top to bottom. It had taken all day. I had been in charge of cleaning the window frames, but I had also been given many smaller tasks. While those small jobs were keeping me busy, I completely forgot about the small broom, and I must have left it lying around somewhere. I began to hate myself for it. This isn't the first time this has happened. It happens all the time. Every time I set something down, it always disappears. It goes somewhere else, vanishes. I thought it was probably the witch, Beatrice, pranking me. The ghost of the witch gained power from Rock Kenjima's evil spirits and was reborn. Until Kumasawa-san told me, I never knew the meaning of the shrine on the rocks by the sea. Kumasawa told an old tale passed down among the local fishermen. Rock Kenjima used to be known as Akujiki Shima, and terrible, evil spirits who ate human souls lived there. Shima means island, by the way. Jima as well. In case anybody wondered. Hey, Kumasawa, let us hear too. Tell us the scary tale of Rock Kenjima's evil spirits. Ho ho ho, very well, very well. Rock Kenjima was once called Azuki Shima. Azuki? Oh, right, because of the... Yeah, I think that was actually mentioned before. However, even deeper in the distant past, it was known as Akujiki Shima. It was rumored that sailors who went too near the island were dragged down to the bottom of the sea and had their souls eaten. Yes, frightening spirits such as those do exist on this island. Ho 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 ho. It was Kumasawa's favorite ghost story. I could see that as well. Every new servant who came to the island heard about it. Such stories are usually laughed off. But when stormy nights visited Rokkenjima, bringing an eerie howling to that lonely island where nothing exists except the Yoshinomiya mansion, everyone would listen meekly. The shrine by the coast was there to seal the evil spirits away, and the master had that creepy occult hobby. And the mansion was so spooky it was easy to picture something hiding in the shadows. True, I mean, if you put all these things together, it definitely creates the right atmosphere for it. Ho ho ho, true. The traveling Shugenja monk was only barely able to suppress those spirits. The seal just managed to hold them, but to this very day they wander through the mansion night after night, searching for a victim to murder. Oh, sorry. Ho ho ho. Have you seen the Master Study? I have. It's like some kind of demon laboratory. There's that rumor about the Master researching demons. They also say he's researching how to revive his mistress Beatrice. Didn't they say he was gathering children to be sacrifices for his magic experiments? Wow, scary. What do you do if the Master asked you to come into the study alone? I heard that long ago one kid went into the study and never came out. Except in small pieces. They must have been a victim of an experiment to give Beatrice's ghost a new body. Ho ho ho, very true. What do you mean very true? Beatrice-sama has become a ghost and wanders around searching for a body. I guess the very true refers to the body thing, but it made it sound like she was just confirming that Kinzo called a child into his study at some point who never returned. The VIP room on the second floor is where Beatrice-sama dwells. You must always be respectful when cleaning that room. If you aren't... Holy shit. Don't ever do that again. Good lord. Man, wasn't prepared for that. Fuck you. In the eyes of teenage boys and girls with their powerful imaginations, the ghost story was both terrifying and fascinating. It gave them a sense of solidarity, since they all got to experience the same tale. Then, that sharing became an obligation, and accepting the story became a rite of passage for joining the community. This was something that had been passed on since long ago. That's right. Back when I first started work in Rokkanjima, I heard that story from Kumasawa-san and the older servants. I heard about it too, mostly from Ne-san.
I heard it too, from Kumasawa-san mainly. Scared the shit out of me.
So not only the timid-looking Shannon, but a boy Kanon, and a big adult Goda believed in the ghost story? Well, I didn't really.
There are tales of ghost stories and jinxes in all our jobs. There were several stories of the sort at the hotel I once worked at.
So you thought it was silly and you didn't mind it at all? Well, I'm sure if the atmosphere is right, even if you have your doubts, some kind of fear might creep into you. I think there was a need to blend with the community.
That's it. Ghost stories and jinxes are the local rules of your workplace. If a newcomer breaks those rules, they can't expect to be welcomed in.
Exactly. If I said witches couldn't possibly exist, that the whole idea was ridiculous, then I'd get into a fight with Ne-san. It was easier if I just appeared to go along with it. Come on, if you think that way, you'll be cursed. There was one servant who got seriously injured.
All workplaces have stories like that. No matter how incredible the ghost stories and tales about the company founder are, you accept and believe them. That's what it means to blend in with your new workplace.
Wow, everyone's so mature. So I guess the gist of that is, whenever you start to work in a new place and your boss tells some stupid bullshit, you just nod. I see. I went to each window around the chapel in the order I had cleaned them, searching carefully in all the places I might have left it. I had been cleaning the windows with it, so it had probably been set down near one of those. When did I leave it behind, I wonder? Now that I think about it, I don't think I had it anymore when I reached the last window. What, so you cleaned the last window with your 3-meter long arm? So I must have completely oh, I see. Completely forgotten to clean that window frame. That makes more sense. Through the window, I could see the others leaving one after another. Shannon turned around and glanced up, looking worried. I don't want to be responsible for making everyone wait, so I'm actually glad they're leaving without me. If I said I wanted them to wait for me, I'd be relying on them too much. The sun is beginning to set, and the chapel's getting darker and darker. This view right here reminds me of that one enemy in Dark Souls. Close to the blacksmith, there's like some kind of chapel or cathedral, and up on the upper part of it, there's like some stupid special enemy who shoots like lightning at you or something. I don't want to hang around in a place like this all by myself. I'd better find the small broom fast. No, that's not all. I also need to clean the window frames I forgot. Madam is strict. She'll probably check all of the windows carefully. If she does, I'll be the one who gets in trouble tomorrow. But really, where did I lose it? Why did I lose it? The darkness grew and grew. When it became dark enough that I would need a light before long, I began to panic. How hard can it be to find a broom? I dashed around and around the chapel, tears streaming down my face. As I stumbled about pathetically, I could feel the presence of a prankster witch giggling at me from the crack of the door and gaps in the ceiling. The ghost of Beatrice, the master's mistress, wanders about in search of a body to this very day. As she absorbs the power of Rokkanjima's evil spirits, her strength steadily grows and she waits for the day of her resurrection. And for some reason, she's peeking out at me. And if I ever take my eyes off something for a second, she snatches it away and hides it. This isn't the first time this has happened. Whenever I look away, keys, handkerchiefs, pencils, erasers, all of them vanish almost right away. Even though I was planning to use them later, or just wanted to put them in their proper place, they disappear as soon as I turn around. It isn't someone hiding them as a prank. It's happened many times when I'm the only person around. Everyone always says I'm too careless and forgetful, and they laugh at me, get mad at me. I do try to be alert, but like some kind of bad joke, I lose things easily when I forget about them for just a short while. Could it be that the others are like doing that on purpose? Like these, I mean, it's been made clear that the others, except for Shannon, don't exactly like this kid. So I could imagine them hiding it somewhere. Although that would probably backfire very easily, since it was mentioned that if one messes up, it's treated like the whole house messed up. So sometimes I think this eraser is gonna disappear sooner or later, and I stare at it. But at those times alone, it doesn't disappear. Nothing disappears when I'm alert. But as soon as I think I'm safe and the tension relaxes just a bit, then something else will disappear. Why is it always me? Uh-oh. Yeah, I hear you. I can tell that the witch is laughing at me as I lamely run around in circles. Listening to that voiceless laugh, I finally slammed my hands against the wall, crying tears of frustration. Please just stop it. Why do you always hide my things and get me in trouble? And the witch answered, Fool, isn't it obvious? Why else except to entertain myself by watching you wander about pointlessly? I couldn't bear it. Even though I knew what she said was true, hearing it said directly was incredibly annoying. I understand. That small room probably is somewhere in this chapel. No, that's not quite it. I'm sure that the moment before I reached this window, it was right there on the windowsill. That's right, I'm sure I put it by this window. But the prankster witch Beatrice used her magic, and just before I reached this spot, she instantly teleported the small broom to the next window over. The instant I approached that window, a hole appeared beneath the small broom, swallowing it up. And it came out by the next window after that. It landed right inside it, as though it had been there the whole time. And this happened over and over again. As I ran up to that window, the small broom fell into a magic hole and went to the next window. And when I went to that window, it went to the next window. And I realized that she was just making fun of me. So no matter how much I searched, it would be useless. But if I stopped searching, it'll be just sitting there by one window or another. So this isn't a search, it's a test of endurance. I kept chasing after the small broom, and Beatrice kept making it escape to the next window over, trying to make me give up. This is an eternal chase that'll end only when one of us gives up. So I kept going around and around, even to windows that I knew I'd already searched. If it's not by this one, then try the next one and the next one. And the witch kept moving the small broom to the next window and the next. Just give it a rest. How long are you going to make fun of me? This isn't the only time. You always do this. The shrill, voiceless laugh of the formless witch continued to mock my sobbing. The witch is right beside me, laughing at me. As I dash around the chapel, she's following along with me, taunting me. Then she must be there. She's right behind me, just over my shoulder, still cackling away. I know that turning around wouldn't help. Since she has no form, I can try to look, but I mustn't look with my eyes. Once my eyes tell me there's nothing there, I won't be able to see anymore. I learned that from the director of the Hukuin house. You mustn't try to see with your eyes. You must see with the eyes of your heart. The whole world is filled with God's love. In the many blessings of everyday life, one can see God, angels, and the Holy Ghost. Okay, I guess the Hukuin house is a Christian house establishment, which is a rare thing in Japan, I would say. But, I mean, it definitely sounds like it. If you try to look with your eyes, you won't see them, so you won't be able to see them. So you won't be able to feel them or understand them. With the eyes of the heart, you will quietly understand. You don't look at their image. You see and draw them with your heart. Cool beat. In this way, I learn how to recognize beings not of this world at the Hukuin house. It doesn't just mean being able to see God. This power lets one see all of those not of this world. Please stop it now. Stop this prank. Oh, so you can speak to me. I'm clumsy bad at my job, and I do put things down and forget about them a lot. But I know which things were my fault and which things were because of your pranks. How amusing. Not only can you perceive me in my former state, but you even understand my little game. It seems you're a more interesting creature than I thought. Yasu. I'm usually called Yasu when one of the older servants is laughing behind my back at some mistake I've made. So when I hear that name, it feels bad. By rare, I mean, if you look at the percentage of how many Christians there are in Japan, it's pretty low. So I think you can call it rare. Comparably rare, I guess. I think it was just last time I checked, but that was a long time ago. But still, I think last time I checked, it was just like 2 or 5%. She, hold on, I'm usually called Yasu when one of the older servants is laughing behind my back at some mistake I've made, so when I hear that name, it feels bad. She called me not by the blessed name given to me by the Fukuin house, but by that unblessed name. Upsetting the heart is a classic move that evil beings make. They do it to make it harder for people to notice their presence. To beings like witches, being understood is like shoving them out into the light of day. It won't work. In the Fukuin house, I learned how to perceive those who are not of this world, so I'm already able to understand you. Very interesting. You've taken me, a being so feigned that I'd fly away if you blew on me and trapped me, perceived me. You're an interesting kid, Yasu. It won't work. I've now understood and perceived you. No matter how many unpleasant things you say, you'll just expose the ugliness of your heart. Without turning around, I slowly let my range of vision fill the entire chapel. It was as though the viewpoint of my soul was floating out on the shell of my head. See? Inch by inch, my range of vision is floating out of my head and drifting upwards. As I look down at myself, standing there with head hanging and eyes tightly shut, the eyes of my heart very slowly rose up to the ceiling of the chapel. And when I looked down from there, I saw myself standing in the center of the chapel and the witch standing behind me. Apparently the witch realized that I could see her. Huh? She turned around and raised her eyes to look at the eyes of my heart, floating by the ceiling. At last, I could see the witch Beatrice with the eyes of my heart. A mere human that can perceive my form? The demonic lips twisted in an ugly curve. It was clearly a challenging, repulsive, demon smile. She wore a blood-red dress and hat. The design was completely different from anything humans wore. Her hair was blonde, it had countless beautiful curls like a princess from a picture book, but there was no trace of cuteness about her. I did think you were a bit different from the other humans, but it seems I was mistaken. Forget just a bit, you're nothing like those other humans. You sad witch, who can be seen by no one, heard by no one. Have you been pulling these pranks all the time, just to catch the attention of humans? I use what little magic I have to interfere when humans aren't looking, but no matter what I do, none of them think it's magic. They decide that they just made a little mistake, and blow my existence away like the candles on a cake. If so, then I've just saved you, because I understand you and have perceived you. Saved me? To me, this meeting with you is nothing more than a new way to kill time. It's getting dark. I don't have time to play with you anymore. Oh, my apologies. I was so engrossed that I didn't notice the time. Please give it back. My cleaning tool. That small broom, or whatever you call it. It's right there by the next window. But as soon as I get close, you'll move it to the next window over. My form is elusive, as is my magic. With a snap of my fingers, I can do anything. The witch snapped her fingers, and various things throughout the chapel were sucked into a black pitfall beneath them, disappearing. No, they didn't disappear. The instant they vanished into the dark holes, other dark holes appeared in completely different parts of the chapel, and the vanished objects fell out of those. Chairs, musical scores, clocks, and vases started appearing and disappearing, all across the room. It made it feel as though countless tools were flying about the chapel. I can do things like this, but don't. After all, this would be a bit beyond a mere prank, don't you think? I wonder what the difference between a prank and magic is to a witch. When she snapped her fingers again, all of the loud flying objects returned to their original spots, and silence fell. I've taken a liking to you. You've perceived and captured me. It works the same in reverse. I've perceived and captured you. The Fukuin director told me not to try and see evil beings. If you see them, they will possess you. Now that I understood this witch, a bond had been formed between us. That is correct. Now that you have acknowledged my existence, I have formed a bond with you. After all the years I've spent in boredom, it will be nice to have a young kid like you to talk to. I'll talk to you from time to time, so will you stop pulling pranks like this? No, I'm not here to talk to you, but to play with you. And if we're playing, pranks are just part of the game, right? Very well. I've had enough fun for one day. The sun has sunk and the moon is full. I'm a bit tired after appearing in front of you for so long. Let us call it a night. Look how much fun we had with just a single broom. Please give it back. No way. I'll keep this as a token of our meeting. Got a problem with that? If I said I did, would you give it back to me? I never listen to humans. However, I might lend an ear to a friend. If you give it back, I will acknowledge you as a friend. Foolish human, did you actually think that alone would make me want to deal? If you want to make a deal with me, try drawing a mysterious magic circle or two. And yet, I might consider your proposal. What do you mean, you might? I'll take my time in deciding whether you're worthy to be my friend. After all, to be a witch is to be a contrarian, and I'm an ojaku. If you ask for us for an answer, we'll never give one right away. Understood. Then I'll leave the small broom with you. Please give it back when you decide to become my friend. Very well. How about fuck you and fuck that broom? True. Will this broom become a bridge of friendship between us or not? I will hang on to it for now, making my decision in my own good time. When the witch snapped her fingers, the broom for which I had searched so long fell out of a hole in the air, landing between the fingers she had just snapped. This is goodbye. This game with you was far from boring. Let us play again sometime. If you're my friend, that is. When a cat toys with a mouse, does it try to become friends with it first? Oh god. Would you please not ever do those eyes again? The witch faded away. As she did, the eyes of my heart shut themselves. When I returned to my body, I felt suddenly tired and let out the breath I'd been holding. Of course, when I turned around, there was no one to be seen. I couldn't feel the witch's presence anywhere anymore. It had gotten very dark by this time. I decided to leave the chapel. There's no point in searching for the small broom any longer, not until the witch decides to give it back. I went out of the chapel. The chapel key had been left in the lock. I used it to lock the door. What am I going to do about the small broom? There's nothing I can do. I can't even blame the witch. I must acknowledge that I'm responsible for giving the witch a chance. When I happened to glance downwards, I saw a small broom lying there by my feet. It was the broom I had been searching for all this time. Don't tell me that it'll be swallowed up by a dark hole the instant I bend over to pick it up. No, this is a sign from the witch. A sign that she acknowledges me as a friend. I picked it up. Oh, I am one yet many. The first friend I made after coming to the island was apparently not a human at all. However, when I think back on it, it was only natural. What other sort of friend would you expect to make on a witch's island? This was the first meeting between me and Beatrice. However, some of you listeners may have noticed, this was not a meeting with the real Beatrice. The witch I then called Beatrice would later be known by another name. Yeah, that was Gob. However, she was clearly not human, and being bonded with one who is not human means being bonded with their world. I still had no way of knowing the varied fates that waited for me on Orok Kanjima. End of chapter 2. The first friend. That keeps appearing it's only in the stream, but maybe it's just for me, but sometimes there flickers a white thing just on the right side of the stream, not the entire stream. Is that happening to you as well? It's not happening in the game. There it is again. It's happening on the side, on the website. I'm not sure if no flickering here. Okay, maybe it's just my browser or Twitch being an idiot. Not the first time. But okay, thanks for quickly confirming it. It's happening all the time now. I just shouldn't look at it. Yeah, seriously. Not only was Yasu slow-witted, that kid also lost stuff all the time. I gotta say, I kinda like them much better in their servant outfit than the weird stuff they usually wear. But even so, Yasu always had this look like someone else had taken whatever it was away. It really pissed me off. That kid just didn't know how to concentrate. If you always act in that dreamy way without thinking, it's no surprise that you'll do bad work. But it was only like that in the beginning, right? After some time, that kid started concentrating, and all of that bad stuff stopped happening. Really? Well, it was all stuff that anyone should be able to do anyway. Learning to do things that everyone can do is part of growing up.
Yeah, and also not bouncing around the room.
I doubt the rest of you were so clever about everything when you first started, yes?
Also, that's kind of a wise line. Learning to do things that everyone can do is part of growing up.
Are you kidding? If we weren't clever, we'd never have been selected to work for the Yoshidomiya family.
Oh, was somebody a bit, like, on a high horse?
We're supposed to be the elite. The fact that Yasu was young was no excuse. That's right. If Yasu is supposed to learn cleverness by growing up, then that should have been done before coming to work for the Yoshidomiyas. Come on, that kid worked really hard to balance school and work. I think you're all being too harsh. We were selected because we made it through a harsh process, right? There's no need for us to pamper Yasu. I'm sick of this. I don't get why someone as dull-witted as Yasu was chosen.
Being selected as an Ushiromiya family servant was an achievement that all Fukuin children respected. The older servants had achieved glory by making it through the strict selection process. Yasu was so clumsy that they all wondered why the child had been chosen. I mean, it's still overboard to really hate on the child, but I mean, I can see why there would be. Why they would have this, what the fuck, why was he chosen or she chosen when he or she keeps messing up all the time? I can see why they would get this thought. But still, no need to be so mean. Of course, Yasu was working very hard for a child of that age. However, before long, the unsatisfied older servants started being mean to Yasu whenever they got the chance. Even after getting used to life on Orokanjima, Yasu didn't manage to make a single friend, at least not any human friends. Chapter 3, Dazed and Raptured.